National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses clearances between exterior light poles and underground gas lines in section 225.22d. This section is specifically concerned with poles that have an accessible opening near ground level for electrical connections. The primary reason for these clearance requirements is to prevent hazards arising from potential electrical faults or stray currents that could ignite the gas or damage the gas line, leading to a gas leak or explosion. The code mandates a minimum horizontal clearance between the light pole and the underground gas line. The exact distance of this clearance is detailed within NEC section 225.22d, and it's crucial to consult the latest edition of the NEC to ensure compliance with the most current standards. This clearance is measured from the nearest point of the light pole to the nearest point of the underground gas line. Factors influencing the required clearance include the voltage level of the electrical conductors within the light pole, the type of gas line material, and local regulations. Higher voltage systems typically require greater clearances. When installing light poles near underground gas lines, it's imperative to first identify the location of all underground utilities. Utility companies and local authorities can provide detailed maps and information about buried infrastructure in the area. This process is often referred to as one call or call before you dig. Before any excavation work begins, this step is essential to avoid damaging underground utilities, including gas lines, electrical conduits, and communication cables. The depth of the underground gas line is another critical consideration. The NEC specifies minimum burial depths for gas lines to protect them from physical damage. If the gas line is buried at a shallower depth than required, it may be necessary to lower the gas line before installing the light pole to meet the clearance requirements. In addition to horizontal clearance, vertical clearance is also important, although NEC section 225.22d primarily addresses horizontal separation. However, maintaining adequate vertical separation ensures that the light pole foundation or any excavation work does not compromise the integrity of the gas line. Proper grounding of the light pole is crucial for electrical safety. The grounding system provides a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source, minimizing the risk of electric shock and equipment damage. The grounding electrode conductor should be sized according to NEC Table 250.66 and connected to a ground rod or other approved grounding electrode system. The light pole itself should be bonded to the grounding electrode system to ensure that all metallic parts are at the same potential. When making electrical connections within the light pole, it's essential to use approved connectors and wiring methods suitable for the environment. The connections should be protected from moisture, corrosion, and physical damage. All wiring should comply with NEC Article 300, which covers general wiring methods and materials. Furthermore, any accessible opening near ground level for electrical connections must be properly sealed to prevent the entry of water, dirt, and insects. This helps to maintain the integrity of the electrical system and prevent corrosion of the connections. Regularly inspecting the light pole and its surrounding area is important to identify any potential hazards or code violations. Look for signs of damage to the pole, such as rust, cracks, or corrosion. Check the electrical connections to ensure they are tight and free from corrosion. Verify that the grounding system is intact and effective. If any problems are identified, they should be corrected promptly by a qualified electrician. If the required clearance cannot be achieved due to site constraints, there are several options to consider. Firstly, rerouting the gas line may be feasible, although this can be a costly and disruptive option. Secondly, relocating the light pole to a different location where the required clearance can be met. Thirdly, installing a physical barrier between the light pole and the gas line. This barrier should be made of a non-conductive material and should be designed to withstand any potential impact or damage. The design and installation of the barrier should be approved by a qualified engineer and comply with all applicable codes and regulations. It's important to note that the NEC is not a design manual. It provides minimum safety requirements, but it does not specify how to design an electrical system. A qualified electrical engineer should be consulted to design the light pole installation and ensure that it complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Local codes and regulations may also impose additional requirements beyond those specified in the NEC. It's essential to check with the local authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, to determine if there are any specific requirements in the area. The AHJ is responsible for enforcing the NEC and other codes and regulations, and they can provide guidance on how to comply with these requirements. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it's important to use the latest edition of the code. Changes and revisions are made to the code to reflect new technologies, materials, and installation practices. Staying up to date with the latest code requirements is essential for ensuring electrical safety and compliance. Section 225 of the NEC covers outside branch circuits and feeders. This section provides requirements for the installation of electrical wiring and equipment located outside of buildings. Subsection 225.22 specifically addresses the support of overhead conductor spans. This section requires that overhead conductor spans be supported in a manner that prevents excessive sag and ensures adequate clearance from the ground and other objects. The supports must be strong enough to withstand the weight of the conductors, as well as any ice or wind loading. The NEC also provides requirements for the type of materials that can be used for overhead conductor supports. The materials must be corrosion resistant and suitable for the environment in which they are installed. The supports must also be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards. In addition to the NEC, other standards and guidelines may also apply to the installation of light poles near underground gas lines. These include standards from organizations such as the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These standards provide additional guidance on the design, installation, and maintenance of electrical systems. It's also important to consider the environmental conditions when installing light poles near underground gas lines. In areas with high levels of moisture or corrosive substances, it may be necessary to use special materials and installation methods to protect the electrical system from damage. For example, using corrosion-resistant conduit and fittings can help to prevent corrosion of the wiring and equipment. Proper drainage can also help to prevent the accumulation of water around the light pole foundation, which can damage the concrete and cause the pole to become unstable. Training and certification programs are available for electricians and other professionals who work with electrical systems. These programs provide comprehensive training on the NEC and other relevant standards and guidelines. Certification demonstrates that an individual has the knowledge and skills necessary to perform electrical work safely and competently. When hiring an electrician to install or maintain a light pole near an underground gas line, it's important to choose a qualified and experienced professional. Ask for references and check their credentials to ensure they are qualified to perform the work. A qualified electrician will be familiar with the NEC requirements for clearances between light poles and underground gas lines and will be able to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, maintaining adequate clearance between exterior light poles and underground gas lines is essential for electrical safety. NEC Section 225.22d provides specific requirements for clearances between poles with accessible openings near ground level and underground gas lines. Following these requirements, identifying underground utilities before digging and consulting with a qualified electrical engineer will help to ensure a safe and compliant installation. Regular inspections and maintenance are also important for identifying and correcting any potential hazards or code violations. By taking these steps, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and ensure the safety of people and property. Remember to always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local codes and regulations for the most up-to-date requirements. Adhering to these standards is not only a matter of compliance but also a commitment to safety. Understanding the specific requirements outlined in NEC Section 225.22d is crucial. This section likely provides detailed specifications for the minimum clearance distances required based on voltage levels and other factors. Ignoring these specifications can lead to dangerous situations. Always verify the exact measurements in the current NEC edition. Furthermore, proper documentation of the installation process is vital. Keep records of all inspections, permits, and approvals. This documentation can be helpful in the event of a future inspection or if any questions arise about the installation. Consider using a checklist to ensure that all necessary steps are followed during the installation process. This checklist should include items such as verifying the location of underground utilities, checking the clearance distances, ensuring proper grounding, and inspecting the electrical connections. Providing ongoing training for employees who work with electrical systems is essential. This training should cover the NEC requirements for clearances between light poles and underground gas lines, as well as other relevant safety topics. Refresher courses should be provided periodically to ensure that employees stay up to date with the latest code requirements and best practices. Promote a culture of safety within the organization. Encourage employees to report any potential hazards or code violations. Create a system for addressing these reports promptly and effectively. By fostering a safety-conscious environment, you can help to prevent accidents and injuries. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By working together, we can create a safer environment for ourselves, our colleagues, and our communities. Always prioritize safety when working with electrical systems, and never hesitate to ask for help if you are unsure about something. Regular maintenance of light poles is also crucial for ensuring continued safety. This maintenance should include inspecting the poles for damage, checking the electrical connections, and verifying the grounding system. Any necessary repair should be made promptly by a qualified electrician. Consider implementing a preventative maintenance program for light poles. This program should include regular inspections, cleaning, and lubrication of moving parts. By proactively maintaining the light poles, you can help to extend their lifespan and prevent costly repairs. When working with underground utilities, always exercise caution. Assume that all underground utilities are energized or contain hazardous materials. Use hand tools to excavate near underground utilities to avoid damaging them. If you damage an underground utility, immediately notify the utility company and local authorities. Never attempt to repair a damaged underground utility yourself. Always follow the instructions of the utility company and local authorities. In addition to the technical aspects of light pole installation, it's also important to consider the aesthetic aspects. Choose light poles that are aesthetically pleasing and complement the surrounding environment. Consider the height, style, and finish of the light poles. Work with a qualified landscape architect to design a lighting plan that meets your needs and enhances the beauty of the area. When selecting light fixtures, choose energy-efficient models that will save you money on your electricity bill. Consider using LED light fixtures, which are more energy efficient than traditional incandescent or fluorescent fixtures. Also, consider using light fixtures with timers or sensors that will automatically turn the lights on and off as needed. This can further reduce your energy consumption and save you money. Proper lighting can also improve safety and security. Install light poles in areas where people walk or gather to provide adequate illumination. This can help to deter crime and prevent accidents. Consider using light fixtures with motion sensors that will turn on when someone approaches. This can provide an extra level of security. In conclusion, installing light poles near underground gas lines requires careful planning, execution, and ongoing maintenance. By following the NEC requirements, consulting with qualified professionals, and prioritizing safety, you can ensure a safe, compliant, and aesthetically pleasing installation.